It is the ever-popular college football coaches hot seat list right here at the Voice of College Football. If you enjoy the content, even if you don't agree with me, please hit the like button and subscribe. We go live just about every day, typically multiple times per day on one of our team channels, including right here on the main channel, typically Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, at least each and every week. Give me a call here at the Voice of College Football. Our hot seat list in the offseason of 2022, well, it included Scott Frost, Jeff Collins, David Shaw, Brian Harsin, and also Carl Durrell. So some of these guys are going to get let go. I don't think there's any question about that. There are also some surprises out there, of course. We saw Paul Chryst, who has the most successful program in the Big Ten Western Division at Wisconsin, coming off a 9-4 season, 5 games deep into this past season, gets let go. So some surprises could jump out as well. So leave your comments down in the comment section below. Let me know where I missed it, where I hit on the coaches' hot seats. Let's get to the 9 on the list. That includes Jeff Hafley of Boston College, coming off 3-9, 2-6 in a bad ACC. 15-20 in his career at BC in 3 seasons, just 9-17 again in a bad ACC conference. Well, he stepped into this role from Ohio State. One of the reasons he was hired, according to his introductory news conference, was he comes from a winning tradition, a winning program. He knows how to win, both as defensive coordinator at Ohio State, defensive backs coach in the NFL, but not getting it done at Boston College right now, losing his quarterback in the process, Phil Jurkovec, who's moved on to Pitt. The recruiting under Jeff Hafley has been a little bit better in comparison to Steve Addazio at numbers 53, 51, 40, and 56 in the nation. Our number 8 coach, this is an interesting one each and every year, as it has been for the past couple seasons, because Pat Fitzgerald is one of the most respected coaches in college football. Has done a remarkable job for the most part at Northwestern, but recently, wow, it's atrocious. 4-20. How do you go 4-20 as a Power 5 team when you're playing 3 nobodies in non-conference play? Deplorable. 2-16 in the Big Ten. They lost last season to the likes of Miami of Ohio and Southern Illinois. In fact, going back to 2006, Northwestern has lost these games. This is just unacceptable. 4 consecutive games to Duke. Duke was good last season, but not before that. They were awful. There you see, in addition to Miami of Ohio and Southern Illinois from 2022, Akron, Western Michigan, Illinois State, Northern Illinois, Army, and they've got a football program apparently at New Hampshire because Northwestern lost to them. The recruiting class is not good, but they're typically not good. That's really not a factor at Northwestern. They coach them up. Pat Fitzgerald and his staff has been able to do that. Of course, he lost his longtime 50-year defensive coordinator 2 years ago, so that could be under consideration as well. Recruiting classes at 60, 54, 53, and 45. Only 1 pickup in the transfer portal in 2023. That's below national standards, of course. What's impressive about Pat Fitzgerald in particular, he's never had a team that's been ranked in the preseason top 25. And 5 times he has delivered a top 25 team. So he has overachieved compared to the expectations. But just this football team does not look to be good in 23, and they've been awful ever since. At some point, enough's enough. He's a favorite son who, unlike Scott Frost, has achieved at the school. So it's a different situation. Pat Fitzgerald, tremendous coach, but maybe it's time at Northwestern. We move it on to our number 7 guy on the list, and that's, of course, Justin Wilcox at Cal. Justin Wilcox, really good football coach. I thought this was a great hire. Assembled tremendous defenses at places like Tennessee and Wisconsin and USC, but the defense, number 111 in the nation last year at Cal. He did post good defensive metrics prior to that, numbers 48, 38, and 65 in the country. His last few teams, 10-18, 7-15 in the Pac-12, and a bad Pac-12 again before 2022, a bad Pac-12. Justin Wilcox will not recruit well at Cal. No one will, but the recruiting classes should be better. Justin Wilcox not winning at Cal. They've been really bad the last few seasons. Did go 7-6, 8-5 a few years ago, but overall, 17-32 in the Pac-12, winning 35% of your games in conference. In a bad conference, not good enough. Justin Wilcox on the hot seat, as is Steve Sarkisian. I know it's kind of early, I know they went 8-5 last year, which is not acceptable at Texas, but they were so much better than the 5-7 first year for Sark. But big things are expected now. He's got a loaded team, especially on the offensive side of the ball. They are loaded. And they really had a really good football team that could have been so much better in the win-loss column this past season. They lost close games to really good teams. They now have the best talent in the Big 12. They should win the conference. They at least need to get to a conference championship game. This is a dark horse playoff team right here. Sark's got to deliver. When has he ever taken a team that should win and won? When has he overachieved? He's taken two programs at USC and Washington that are top-notch programs, especially USC, of course, and he's been worse than his predecessor and his successor. Sark, deliver. I know it's only a third season and probably won't be ousted even if they go 7-5, 8-4, but time to win. Win now. Don't be a Jimbo Fisher. Win now. On to our number 5 selection, and it's Eli Drinkwitz at Missouri. So consider this. Barry Odom was at Mizzou for 4 seasons. He was taking those teams to bowl games, and he was 25-25. He was 13-19 in the SEC. Eli Drinkwitz is not reaching Barry Odom standards, and he was fired after 4 seasons. Drinkwitz at 17-19, 11-15 in the SEC. His recruiting class is generally good, but again, by SEC standards, not. I don't think that that's really an expectation at Missouri, though. They got to coach him up there. He's not going to recruit as well as the competition in the division, but it's number 35, 18, 30-49. Maybe Missouri needs a better coach. Gary Pinkel was a really good one. Won 2 division championships when Mizzou entered the league in 2013 and 14. Paul Chryst is out there. There are other better replacements. If Eli Drinkwitz does not get it together, get him out of there in Columbia. Let's move on to number 4 on our list, and it's Dino Babers, who makes the annual appearance on the Voice of College Football hot seat list. 36-49, 18-39. Take away 2018. Of course, we can't do that, but they went 10-3 to the Orange in 2018. They really weren't that good, but that's his one big banner year, 2018. He's been around a long time now. He's coached 85 football games at Syracuse, and they're no good. Now, he did have this really good start this past season, 6-0, and this is the telltale sign for me of where the Syracuse program is under Dino Babers and what his expectations are, and more so what they are not. They ran their record to 6-0, had another really good showing against NC State. The place is going wild. They won the game, beat a decent opponent, and they were headed to Clemson the next week to take the Atlantic Division over. You beat Clemson, you take control of the division, you go to the ACC championship game, right? You're 6-0. No, Dino Babers is happy because they just got bowl eligible. Not good enough. I know it's tough to win at Syracuse, but let's at least go 7-5 most of the time. He doesn't do that. He's 13 games under 500. The recruiting classes are atrocious. Number 73, 65, 64, 62. You cannot compete in the ACC with those kind of recruiting classes. Our number 4 selection, Dino Babers, the Cuse. At number 3, I know the buyout is massive, enormous, unbelievable, but it's Texas A&M. And if they're winning at all costs, that cost may be $80 million to get rid of Jimbo Fisher. Last season was remarkably pathetic. 5-7, 2-6 in the SEC. And they played horribly in some of their wins, like the Miami game. They did beat LSU. So the one big accomplishment for Jimbo Fisher this past season was LSU was in line to possibly get to the college football playoff. They were on the road to Atlanta to rep the SEC Western Division, and Texas A&M took out a really good LSU team the final day of the season when they had nothing to play for. So Jimbo at least showed that he could get the team to fight one time. And they didn't get blown out. Let's look at that. They took Bama down to the final play of the game with a pass into the end zone to win the game. They barely lost to Auburn by a last-second field goal. So close losses for Texas A&M. This could be a bounce-back year here for Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M. But to look at the other side of things, 39-21 doesn't sound bad, but again, it's Texas A&M and he's making a ton of money. And Kevin Sumlin had a better record at this juncture of his career at Texas A&M. Jimbo's got the recruiting going, of course. Numbers 13, that number 1 vaunted class that's had some defections, number 9 and 6. Bobby Petrino brought in as offensive coordinator to right the wrongs of Jimbo Fisher, update the offense. We'll see if Bobby and Jimbo can work together. We'll see if the game has passed not only Jimbo by, but also Bobby Petrino in terms of their offensive scheming. Texas A&M. I don't think it's going to cost $80 or $85 million. Take your cue from Wisconsin last season with Paul Chryst when they owed him like $21 million and negotiated that down to something like $13 or $14 million. Throw Jimbo $50 million. Say, see ya. It could be done. Give him one more year. But Jimbo, you got to win 9. Let's go. Our number 2 coach on this list has much different expectations. It's a much different situation at Bloomington, Indiana than it is at College Station, Texas. Tom Allen, though, wow, great 2019. Just seconds away from winning a bowl game against Tennessee, lost by 1 point and almost won 9 games. Then they come back with that near miss against Ohio State. Could have won the Big Ten Eastern Division Championship. Finished at 6-1 in the abbreviated season of 2020. It looked like Indiana was taking off in football under that fiery Tom Allen. You got to love the guy. If you watch him talk and hear him speak to his players and to the media, he loves football. He loves his team. He lays it all out on the line. He chest bumps and headbutts guys, even though they've got helmets on. But the shtick is not working anymore, and he's losing everything. 0-9 in the Big Ten 2 years ago, 2-7 this past season. The recruiting has actually been pretty good by IU standards. Numbers 41, 30, 51, and 58. So those better recruiting classes, the more recent ones for Tom Allen. But if Indiana would let Tom Allen go, who do they get? So I think Tom Allen is most likely somewhat safe unless it's a disastrous 2023 for Indiana football. Get to a bowl game, Tom Allen, and you're safe. Our number 1 coach in our hot seat list right here at the Voice of College Football is one Neil Brown at West Virginia. He's 22-25. He's 14-21 in the conference. A lot of people out there are mistaken about West Virginia football in regards to the accomplishments and the credentials of this program. Look at Neil Brown's record against the 3 previous coaches. West Virginia wins. They win bowl games. They finish in the top 25 consistently under other coaches. And, of course, this is a program that Don Nehlen established way back in the 70s and 80s. But the last 3 coaches, all performing way beyond Neil Brown. And so this is coming off a 47-game tenure at West Virginia for Neil Brown. He, of course, set himself up with a tremendous job at Troy, but just not getting it done in the Power 5. The recruiting classes have been what you would expect at West Virginia in the 40s, 30s, and the Mountaineers usually win 7, 8, 9 games with those kind of recruiting classes. Our number 1 coach on our Voice of College Football hot seat list is Neil Brown of West Virginia. Let's run them down one more time for you. Tom Allen at number 2, Jimbo Fisher at 3, Dino Babers at number 4, our number 5 coach Eli Drinkwitz, followed by Sark, Justin Wilcox, Pat Fitzgerald, really good coach, but what's going on? Jeff Hafley at number 9. Leave your comments down in the comments section and check us out on our next video and live show right here at the Voice of College Football.